Hello and a very warm welcome. F1 chat. Yeah, just gonna have a ramble and I don't know what we'll call the video, but we're gonna have a ramble. We're gonna be talking Max. We're gonna be talking Julian Palmer, Kubica, a couple of others, Sainz, Kvyat, Gasly. So we'll start with Max. He is becoming increasingly frustrated at Red Bull. They're not a title-winning car. He's nowhere near getting a podium at the minute because of the unreliability. Canada running second, car lets him down. Baku, car lets him down. Austria gets tangled in Alonso and Kvyat's crash, and it's just not good enough. It's same with Ricardo. Ricardo, basically, the last three races, Ricardo's picked up 55 points, but Max has got none. Ricardo's taking a massive steaming piss all over Max, and it's not Max's fault, it's the unreliability of his car. Max is a future world champion, and I will support him. I've already said it on camera before. I will support Max when Lewis retires, which will be a while yet. I mean, Lewis has got another good 5 years in him, I would say, but I reckon he'll end up at Ferrari, Max. I mean, who doesn't want to drive for Ferrari? One day I hope Lewis Hamilton drives for Ferrari. Ferrari is, if you're thinking of one F1 team, if you could drive for them for the rest of your career, you would probably pick Ferrari. Max, he can't stay at Red Bull. What are Red Bull going to give him? Because they're not giving him a championship winning car. They're not giving him a world title. Every driver on the grid is there to win a world title. They're not there to make the numbers up. He's not even competing for race wins. Usually when Mercedes and Ferrari fuck up, Red Bull are there to capitalise, like 2016 Spain when Lewis and Nico crashed. Baku, a couple of weeks ago, Ricardo was there to pick up the pieces. But they're nowhere Red Bull, really. I mean, let's be honest, if Lewis's headrest didn't come loose, he would have won Baku. If Vettel didn't do a Ronnie Pickering, he would have won Baku. So, not really on the pace. I know they got a podium again in Austria, but that was only again because Lewis had a gearbox change. They're just nowhere Red Bull. Not like they used to be. You used to turn the TV on 3 or 4 years ago, and it was always, oh, how much is Sebastian Vettel going to win by today? Because basically, you turned on the TV, you knew he was going to win by 20 plus seconds. It was just about a matter of how much. So yeah, I could see Max going to Ferrari. This is what I can see happening. Max goes to Ferrari. Kimi retires. Max goes to Ferrari. Sainz gets his chance in Red Bull. And we'll get on to Sainz now. Sainz is hugely underrated and deserves his chance. He's a far better driver than Kvyat, and he deserves his chance in Red Bull. So Max will go to Ferrari when Kimi retires. Sainz will get promoted to Red Bull, and Pierre Gasly will get promoted to Toro Rosso, because Pierre Gasly has done exactly what Stoffel has done. Won the GP2 championship, go for a year to drive in Japan, and then get your chance in F1. Hopefully that's what happens to Gasly. In my opinion, if you win the GP2 championship, you should be given an automatic F1 drive. Because otherwise, what's the point of lower categories? Like, what is the point of them? If you win the well, it's F2 now, but I always call it GP2, because that's how I know it. GP2, if you win the GP2 title, you should be guaranteed an F1 drive for the next season. Otherwise, there's no point in junior formulas trying to promote drivers. Charles Leclerc, he's another driver absolutely battering the field in F2, GP2 this season. He could maybe get an F1. We also want to talk about Robert Kubica. Julian Palmer under huge pressure. I'm British. I want the Brits to do well, but he's not delivering. He gets battered every weekend by Hulkenberg, and he basically finishes in his favourite position, 11th. He's been in 11th like 4 times. Just seems to be his favourite position. Kubica's had one test at Valencia. He had a second test on Wednesday, I think it was, at Paul Ricard. we all know Robert Kubica is hugely underrated. He had that bad crash in 2007 at Canada, and then somehow miraculously came back in 2008 to the same track where he literally barreled upside down and won the race. Then he had that bad accident where he damaged his hand. But he looks fit. He looks like he can do it. I mean, good reports about Kubica's test. He's fit. He's not feeling the strain on his hand, etc. So hopefully he can do a race distance and he can come back, because everyone would live to see Robert Kubica back. He definitely challenged Hulkenberg more than Palmer is at the minute. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Julian Palmer, but he's not delivering, is he? I mean, I always have one driver on the grid who I always say is not good enough. I had it with Maldonado, I had it with Esteban Gutierrez, they're no longer in the sport. The one this year that stands out 110% is Ericsson and Kvyat. Kvyat is not good enough for Formula 1, in my opinion. I would give Gasly a seat, but if Max did go to Ferrari, Sainz to Red Bull, Kvyat and Gasly would probably be the partnership. But yeah, Ericsson. I mean, I don't know how Ericsson kept his seat in the first place, to be honest. NASA at Brazil, if you remember, 2016, epic race at Brazil. NASA got 2 points for Sauber. He got the points for Sauber to keep him ahead of, I think it was McLaren, or Manor. No, it was Manor, wasn't it? And then basically got dropped. They kept Ericsson, who had scored no points all season. NASA got the points for Sauber, yet they kicked him out, which was very harsh. But this has just been an F1 ramble, a bit of Max chat, a bit of Kubica chat. Kvyat, is he good enough? What do you think, Dutchies, about Max? For me, he can't stay at Red Bull. He's too talented. I mean, if Red Bull aren't going to produce a car that's going to compete, then what's the point? I reckon he will stay there, Max, in 2018. But 2019, I can see him definitely moving on. Let me know. Topics I've covered. Max, will he stay at Red Bull? I want to see him win a world championship. I want to see him fighting at the front. There's nothing more I'd love. I'd even put him in the Mercedes, alongside Hamilton. I'd love to see that. But could you imagine him being teammates with Vettel? It would be so spicy. Sainz, in my opinion, hugely underrated. Kubica's the same, hugely underrated. I'd love to see him come back. And yeah, thanks for watching. That's about it. Race day tomorrow, Silverstone. I'm actually praying for a bit of what we had in qualifying, wet dry or a wet race again. 2016 was epic. First corner, couldn't stay on the track. So let's hope for a bit more of that. Enjoy your Saturday evening. I'll see you next time. Well, I'll see you tomorrow for a race reaction. Adios.